martial arts. While training to form a sense of balance and discipline, you also learn to defend yourself, which then inspired a slew of classic movies and also iterations in games. It did a lot for the scene. So, what would you do if you were to blend the two perfectly together? You take those classic movies and take the feel of gaming. Well, I guess you'd get Shaolin vs. Wutang 2. Obviously a sequel, but it's the first one that I played and much more recently. So upon the menu, you get a slew of different options. You get arcade versus training, tag battle, and team battle, and each one feels scaled and balanced. I was very surprised to see how they were able to tie in so many different characters from so many different series, movies, TV shows, anything of the like, and still make it feel balanced and look just as good as it does in the movie. Stringing together a slew of cinematic combat, whether it's bag flipping, sword flipping, hand flipping, throwing them across the arena, you can practically do everything that you see in those classic movies. Now, this is its own experience. It's not going to be super flash heavy like in Tekken, and it's not going to be punch heavy like in Mortal Kombat. It's definitely its own thing. It's in its own realm, and it's just an experience. With combat that's simple but technical, and like I said, the cinematic style, it's definitely in its own realm. Everything that you do and everything that your opponent does feels like it could be at a pinnacle of life and death. You could lose half your health in just one string, or you could just strike back immediately. They have counters and supers. There's special moves, which your special moves will be like fast hands for Wing Chun, where it's 1P man, and he does the triplet hit to the gut. It's things like that. For Jet Li's character, it's the cartwheel kick. It's just, there's so many different things that you could do to add to your combo that just make it even more cinematic and even more well put together and thought out. And like I said, extremely balanced, which is the most shocking part. It's so balanced, it's crazy. The developers did a good job making this game. You can literally set up any dream fight that you would want. So you could set up, Bruce Lee against anybody, Jackie Chan against anybody, Jet Li against anybody, Chuck Norris, Van Damme. They have so many different classic and iconic martial arts like actors and characters, I guess, because they're inspired by a certain character, but what's nice is that they're not locked to it. So when you're using Jet Li's character, he's from the film Fearless, but there's also references that he makes from movies like The One and Romeo Must Die and just classic movies like that. And same with each actor that's portrayed in this. Well, not actually, quote unquote, but still, I think that it's a nice touch to add to a game like this where you're setting up iconic nostalgic battles, or you can set up brand new battles to basically fulfill whatever fantasy battle you would have in your head for classic martial arts characters. Even the developers, J. Lee Productions, they've come out and said that they're more focused on the experience of the game more so than a mystic arts style or a magical weapon style. And it's true, it shows in their games. They've made games like Kings of Kung Fu, obviously Shaolin vs. Wutang 1 and 2. I mean, what does it tell you? They just have a love for the classic era, that style and fluidity that cinematic fights would used to have. It took over the scene for a good 20 to 30 years. I mean, it was just a vital part of everything that was media at the time. From music videos, like I said, TV shows and movies, you saw different iterations of classic martial arts style everywhere, and like in gaming too. It's just what it was for the time, and even now it's still prevalent. It's just kind of shifted a little bit. So this is just to kind of like, I think, reel it in and bring it back to the classic and just do a lot of what ifs. I mean, if you want to compare it to something that as of late, you would say something like, okay, Prime Tyson versus Prime Jake Paul, that was a whole big thing. So in this, it's just like that, except everything's kind of compressed to their prime. So you have like, oh, what if Prime Chuck Norris was facing off against Prime Jet Li? How would that look and feel? And then the great part is you control it. And also, what I think is so cool, because I wasn't expecting it, is that there are actual endings to the arcade ladder. I know that's a veer, but follow me on this. So, you beat the whole arcade. There's, I think, 9 or 10 fights, and you actually are able to get an ending, which, again, I wasn't expecting. I figured it would just be the screen that says, congratulations, thank you for playing the game, and, at first that popped up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I had a lot of fun playing it anyway, so I'm not really heartbroken. But then, directly after, you actually get an extension and like a little picture snippet and a description, which I think is cool. It kind of reminds me of classic Mortal Kombat, where they would just have the epilogue and then like the picture of that character. And I like that. I think it's a pretty neat idea. This way, you could put a lot of your focus into the game itself. So I'm not really heartbroken that, oh, it wasn't a CG cinematic. It's not supposed to be. It fits with everything else. It's just an experience. It's its own thing. I love it. And the funniest part is I was so unsure when I was looking at it, because I thought of, it could go one of two ways. Either it's going to be a gem, a diamond in the rough, or it's going to be the most dog shit game that was ever created, and I'm going to be furious. So I saw it had just released on PlayStation, and I'm like, well, let's see if it released on Steam. And then turns out I was 2 years late to the party, but hey, it is what it is, I just wanted to talk about it and how much I enjoyed it. So, if you're a fan of the classic and the nostalgic, I would say go ahead and pick it up. It's definitely an experience, and I highly recommend it. So with that, everybody, I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all. 1K gang, let's go.